My friend, let me begin with a question that might surprise you. Do you know that most people live their whole lives without realizing how much power they actually have inside them? They think power is only about money, fame, or position. But real power is much deeper than that. Real power is the ability to direct your own life, to influence your world, and to grow into the best version of yourself. And here is the truth. Every person, including you, is living in one of the 5 levels of power. The problem is, many never move past the first or second level. That is why they feel stuck, weak, and controlled by life. Today, I want to take you on a journey through these 5 levels of power. As I explain each level, I want you to reflect deeply. Ask yourself, which level am I living in right now? And more importantly, how can I rise to the next level? Because once you understand these levels, you will never see life the same way again. Let's begin. Level 1. The power of survival. The first level of power is called the power of survival. This is where every human journey begins. At this stage, your focus is not on dreams, big goals, or personal growth. Your focus is very simple. Stay alive. Life at this level feels like a daily struggle, a battle just to meet your basic needs. You worry about food, money, shelter, health, and security. You are not thinking about luxury, comfort, or influence. You are simply trying to make sure that tomorrow you will still be standing. When you are at the survival level, fear becomes your closest companion. You wake up with fear, you go to work with fear, and you sleep with fear. You may feel fear of losing your job, fear of not being able to feed your family, fear of the future, or fear of unexpected problems that could destroy everything you worked for. In survival mode, your mind never feels safe. Even when nothing bad is happening at the moment, your heart beats faster because you imagine something bad could happen at any time. Most people at this level do not feel free. They feel trapped by their circumstances. They feel as if life is a prison and they are carrying a heavy chain that holds them back. They work hard, sometimes harder than anyone else. But their energy is mostly controlled by anxiety and worry. They cannot enjoy the little things in life because their mind is always asking questions like, what if I lose everything? How will I pay my bills? How will I take care of my family? Their life is not about joy or adventure. It is about survival. To understand this better, imagine a person who wakes up every day with one thought. How will I survive today? He works at a job he doesn't like, but he cannot leave because he's afraid of having nothing. He spends most of his money on rent, food, and debts, and at the end of the month there is almost nothing left. Even small problems like a medical bill or a broken appliance feel like disasters because his life has no extra space, no extra strength. This person is not lazy. In fact, he may work very hard. But the problem is, he is stuck in survival mode, and survival mode is exhausting. Now here's something powerful you must remember. Being at the survival level is not a shame. It does not mean you are weak, useless, or hopeless. It only means you are at the beginning of the journey. Every single human on this planet, no matter how rich or powerful they are today, once had to deal with survival. Think about a baby. When a baby is born, the first instinct is survival. Crying for milk, seeking warmth, depending on others for safety. Just like a child must learn to crawl before walking and run before flying, you must first pass through the stage of survival before reaching higher stages of power. Survival is not your final destination. It is your starting point. But here is the danger. If you stay too long in survival, life becomes heavy and empty. You begin to feel like a slave to the system. You are alive, but not really living. You are breathing, but not thriving. Days blend into weeks, weeks into years, and suddenly you realize you are still fighting the same battles you fought years ago. That is why you must not accept survival as your permanent state. Survival is necessary, but it is not enough for a meaningful life. So, how do you move out of survival? The answer is one powerful word: stability. Stability is the bridge between survival and growth. Without stability, you will always feel one small step away from collapse. With stability, you create a foundation on which you can build a better life. Stability begins with discipline. It begins when you take control of the little things that you can control. You may not be able to change the world overnight, but you can start by changing your habits. You can learn to manage your money more wisely, spending less than you earn, saving a little even when it feels impossible, avoiding unnecessary debts. You can control your health, choosing better food, getting enough rest, and moving your body regularly. You can take small steps to bring order into your daily life, whether it is through a morning routine, planning your time, or saying no to distractions. These small actions might look insignificant at first, but over time, they create stability. And stability is what frees you from the endless fear of collapse. Imagine someone who has even a small emergency savings fund. Suddenly, a broken appliance or a small hospital bill is no longer a life-ending problem. Imagine someone who has developed healthy habits. Suddenly, they are not controlled by sickness as often. Imagine someone who has learned to say no to toxic spending. Suddenly, they are not drowning in debt. Each of these actions builds a stronger base. And once you create a stable base, something incredible happens. You begin to breathe more easily. The constant fear begins to reduce. You no longer live every day with the thought of losing everything. You start to have space in your mind to think about something greater than survival. You begin to imagine possibilities, goals, and dreams. This is when you are ready to rise to the second level of power, the power of desire. But before moving on, remember this truth. Survival is not weakness, but staying in survival forever is a tragedy. You were not born just to pay bills and worry about tomorrow. You were born to grow, to create, to inspire, and to live with purpose. Survival may be your starting chapter, but it must never be your final story. Level 2. The power of desire. The second level of power is called the power of desire. At this stage, life begins to feel different compared to the first level of survival. You are no longer constantly worrying about food, rent, or whether you will make it to the end of the month. You have some stability. You have built a small foundation for your life. You are not free from every problem, but you have enough strength to stop living in constant fear. And once survival is no longer your main battle, your mind naturally turns to something new: desire. At this level, your energy is not focused only on staying alive. Instead, it moves toward chasing pleasure, comfort, and success. You start thinking, what else can I have? What else can I do? What can I achieve to make life more enjoyable? This is the moment when people begin to want more than just basic needs. They begin to want comfort, beauty, and recognition. They want to live not only with stability, but with excitement and satisfaction. This is the level where people dream of nice clothes, shiny cars, bigger houses, and recognition from others. They want to be admired, respected, and valued. They want to look good, feel good, and show the world that they are successful. At the survival stage, the main question was, how will I live? But at the desire stage, the new question becomes, how can I live better? Desire is not a bad thing. In fact, desire is powerful because it pushes you forward. Think about it. If humans had no desire, there would be no progress. Without desire, no one would chase their dreams, invent new technologies, or build businesses. Without desire, no one would push themselves to become stronger, smarter, or richer. Desire is the fire that takes you out of fear and pushes you into action. Many entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, and professionals rise because of strong desire. They want something better, something bigger, something more than what they currently have. And that want becomes their fuel. Let's take an example. Imagine a young student from a poor family. His parents never had money. In childhood, he often went to bed hungry. But as he grew older, he said to himself, "I do not want to live like this forever. I want more for my future." That desire pushes him to study harder, to work extra jobs, to fight for scholarships. Eventually, he becomes successful. Without that strong desire, he might have stayed stuck in survival. But because of desire, he created a new life. However, like every stage of power, the level of desire also carries a hidden danger. If you get stuck here, you may spend your whole life chasing things outside of you without ever feeling complete inside. Desire can give you energy, but if it controls you, it can also make you a slave. You might become addicted to money, addicted to attention, addicted to praise. You might feel happy only when you achieve or receive something new, and then feel empty when you don't. It becomes a cycle of endless chasing, but never truly arriving. Have you ever noticed that when someone buys a new phone or a new car, they feel happy for a few weeks, maybe even months? But soon, that happiness fades, and they begin wanting something else. This is the trap of desire. The feeling of satisfaction is temporary. As soon as one desire is fulfilled, another desire is born. You get what you want, but then you want more. It never ends. This is why the second level of power can be dangerous. Some people spend their whole lives here. They work, they buy, they show off, they collect more and more, but inside, they feel no peace. They are constantly comparing themselves to others. If someone else has a bigger car, they feel small. If someone else has more followers, they feel invisible. They tie their self-worth to possessions, status, or the opinions of others. And because of this, their happiness is always fragile. But here is the good news. Desire itself is not the enemy. The problem is uncontrolled desire. If you learn to discipline your desire, it becomes a powerful tool for growth. If you allow it to control you, it becomes a chain that keeps you stuck. So how do you control desire? The key is balance. You must learn the difference between healthy desire and destructive desire. Healthy desire pushes you to work harder, to improve your life, to achieve something meaningful. Destructive desire pushes you to chase empty pleasures, to waste time, and to compare yourself endlessly with others. Healthy desire is when you say, "I want to build a strong career so I can support my family." Destructive desire is when you say, "I must buy this car just to impress strangers who don't even care about me." Another way to balance desire is by practicing gratitude. When you feel grateful for what you already have, desire no longer controls you. Gratitude reminds you that your value is not in what you own, but in who you are becoming. Desire says, I need more. Gratitude says, I already have enough. When these two work together, you rise. Desire gives you ambition, and gratitude gives you peace. Together, they keep you moving forward without losing yourself. At the second level, the challenge is not to kill desire, but to train it. Train it like a wild horse. If you let it run free, it may destroy you. But if you guide it with discipline, it can carry you far. This is why people who control their desires often rise to the next level of power, the level of discipline. So remember this: the power of desire can be both a gift and a trap. It can give you fire, or it can burn you alive. It can push you to greatness, or it can keep you chasing shadows. The choice is always yours. Use desire as your servant, not your master. And when you do, you will begin to move beyond chasing pleasure and into building strength. That is when you rise from desire into the third level, the power of discipline. Level 3. The power of discipline. The third level of power is called the power of discipline. At this stage, something changes deep inside you. You are no longer controlled only by survival needs, and you are no longer blindly chasing every desire that enters your mind. Instead, you begin to master yourself. You realize that true power does not come from what you own or what others think about you. It comes from the control you have over your own time, actions, and thoughts. This is the level where you begin to wake up with intention. You start building routines that give structure to your life. You begin to understand the importance of consistency. You may decide to wake up early every day, to exercise daily, to study regularly, to build skills that will serve you in the future. You understand that short-term pleasure can destroy long-term success, so you train yourself to resist distractions and temptations. Discipline means saying no to what is easy, so you can say yes to what is meaningful. In today's world, discipline is rare. Many people want success, but very few are willing to do what is required. They want quick money, instant results, and overnight transformation. But life does not work that way. Success requires sacrifice, patience, and consistent effort. And discipline is the bridge that takes you from where you are to where you want to be. Without discipline, even the strongest desire will collapse. But with discipline, even small steps turn into great progress. Let me give you a clear example. Imagine two people living side by side. The first person follows every desire. He eats junk food whenever he wants. He spends hours scrolling through social media, and he wastes his evenings watching endless videos. The second person is different. He wakes up early, exercises his body, reads books, and learns new skills. He does not live a life of comfort, but a life of structure. After 1 week, the difference between them is small. After 1 month, it becomes noticeable. After 1 year, the difference is clear. And after 5 years, the disciplined person is strong, skilled, respected, and free, while the other is weak, lost, and trapped in bad habits. Clearly, the one who practices discipline has more power. Discipline is not about punishing yourself or removing joy from your life. It is about creating habits that serve you, instead of habits that destroy you. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. For example, you might want to watch a movie tonight, but you know you must finish studying for your exam. Discipline is choosing the exam because you value your long-term success more than temporary entertainment. You might want to sleep longer in the morning, but you also want a healthier body. Discipline is choosing to get up and exercise because you know the future reward is greater than the moment of comfort. Here is something powerful to remember. Discipline creates freedom. At first, discipline feels like limitation. You tell yourself, I cannot eat this. I cannot waste time. I must follow this routine. It feels strict. But over time, discipline gives you freedom. Because you control yourself, you no longer become a slave to your desires. Because you save money, you no longer live in fear of being broke. Because you train your mind, you no longer panic when challenges come. The more disciplined you become, the freer you feel. Discipline also builds respect. At this level, people around you start to notice your consistency. They see you working hard, staying focused, and keeping promises to yourself. Slowly, they begin to admire you. They begin to look at you as an example. They say, this person has control. This person is serious. This person is different. Discipline is not loud, but it is powerful. It speaks without words. But let's be honest, discipline is not easy. There will always be temptations, distractions, and excuses. Your mind will tell you, just relax, just give up, just do it tomorrow. But every time you win against that voice, you become stronger. Every time you push yourself when it is difficult, you build another layer of power. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. At first, it feels heavy. Later, it feels natural. The challenge of this stage is consistency. Anyone can be disciplined for one day. Many people can even be disciplined for 1 week. But true discipline is when you practice it for months and years, even when motivation is gone. Motivation is like a spark. It comes and goes. But discipline is the fire that keeps burning, even when the spark disappears. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going. Discipline also protects you from regret. Think about how many people say later in life, I wish I had studied harder. I wish I had taken care of my health. I wish I had managed my money better. These regrets are the price of living without discipline. But those who practice discipline do not carry such heavy regrets. They may not always enjoy every moment of the struggle, but in the end, they are proud of who they have become. At this level, you truly begin to feel the difference between being controlled by life and controlling life. Instead of letting every problem push you down, you face problems with strength. Instead of letting every desire control you, you choose which desires are worthy of your time. Instead of drifting without direction, you begin to design your life. But here is something important to understand. Discipline alone is not enough. Discipline gives you strength, but if you use that strength only for yourself, it has limits. The next step is even greater. Once you master yourself, the natural next stage is to influence others. Discipline makes you powerful. Influence makes you impactful. And that is where the journey leads. From the power of discipline to the power of influence. Level 4. The power of influence. The fourth level of power is the power of influence. At this stage, your personal growth begins to overflow. You are no longer just climbing for yourself. You begin to inspire, teach, and guide others. Influence is the stage where your actions, words, and energy touch the lives of people around you. It is no longer only about me. It becomes about we. Think about it for a moment. Imagine a candle. A single candle gives light in a dark room. But when that candle lights another candle, the brightness doubles. If it lights 10 candles, the whole room shines. Influence works exactly the same way. The more people you inspire, the more powerful your light becomes. At this stage, you realize your life has a bigger purpose than just personal gain. It is about helping others rise with you. Influence is powerful because it multiplies your strength. One person with influence can change the direction of many lives. A teacher influences students. A leader influences a team. A coach influences players. A parent influences children. A creator influences their audience. Each of these roles shows how one person's decisions, habits, and words can spread far beyond themselves. When you rise to this level, your power is no longer limited to what you can do alone. It becomes multiplied through others. But here is an important truth. Influence does not come from shouting the loudest or from forcing others to follow you. Influence does not come from money, titles, or external status. True influence comes from character. People listen to you not because you are perfect, but because they can feel your authenticity. They trust you because you walk your talk. They respect you because you live with integrity. Influence grows when your actions match your words and when you show care for others, not just for yourself. Let me give you an example. Imagine two people. The first one constantly tells others what to do, but he does not follow his own advice. He talks about hard work but is lazy himself. He speaks about honesty, but lies when it suits him. Do people respect this person? No, because his actions destroy his words. The second person is different. She may not talk much, but she works hard, she helps others, and she shows kindness. People naturally follow her because she sets an example. This is the difference between authority and influence. Authority demands respect, but influence earns it. At this level, you begin to see that leadership is not about controlling others. It is about serving them. The best leaders are not those who command from the top, but those who lift others from the bottom. They do not push people forward. They walk with them side by side. They do not take all the credit. They give credit away. And because of this, people love to follow them. Influence built on service and humility lasts forever. Think about some of the most influential figures in history. Leaders like Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, or Martin Luther King Jr. did not influence people by force. They influenced people through vision, courage, and character. Their lives became an example that others wanted to follow. Even today, long after they are gone, their influence continues to shape the world. That is the power of true influence. It lives longer than you do. But you do not need to be a world leader to have influence. You can influence in your daily life. A kind word to a friend can change their day. A teacher who believes in a struggling student can change their future. A parent who encourages their child can build confidence that lasts a lifetime. Even small actions of encouragement, patience, or kindness ripple outward. Influence is not always about big speeches or grand actions. Sometimes it is about small, consistent acts that touch people deeply. However, just like desire or discipline, influence has a danger. The danger is ego. Once people begin to follow you, once you gain respect or attention, it is easy to let pride take over. Some people misuse influence for selfish reasons. They want followers only to feel important. They manipulate others for their own benefit. This is not true influence. It is control. True influence lifts others up, not traps them under you. To remain at this level in a healthy way, you must remind yourself, influence is a responsibility, not a trophy. When you reach the power of influence, something inside you shifts. You begin to realize that life is not only about what you achieve, it is about what you give. Success feels empty if you are the only one enjoying it. But when your success helps others, it becomes meaningful. Influence teaches you that real success is when your presence makes others better, and your absence makes them miss your guidance. If survival is about taking care of yourself, and desire is about chasing what you want, and discipline is about controlling yourself, then influence is about expanding your power to others. It is about moving from me to we. It is about leaving a mark, shaping lives, and multiplying your impact. This is the stage where you stop asking, "What can I get?" and start asking, "What can I give?" But influence is not the final destination. It is powerful, but there is still one more level, the highest of them all, and very few people ever reach it. It is the level where influence turns into something even deeper and greater, something beyond recognition or fame. It is the level of wisdom, where your power is not only in how many people you touch, but in the timeless truth you live by. And so, the journey does not stop here. Influence is the fourth step, but there is still one more level waiting for you. The ultimate level of power. Level 5. The power of purpose. The fifth and highest level of power is the power of purpose. At this stage, you are no longer controlled by fear, desire, or even ego. Your life becomes something greater than chasing comfort or recognition. It becomes a mission. Purpose is when your life is guided by a clear why, a reason so strong that it fuels every action, every sacrifice, and every choice you make. When you reach this level, you stop asking, "What do I want from life?" and instead begin asking, "What does life want from me?" Purpose is different from goals. A goal is something you achieve, and then you move on to the next one. But purpose is bigger. It is not something you finish. Purpose is a direction, a journey, a calling that gives your life meaning. With purpose, you wake up every day knowing that your actions matter, not only to you, but to the world around you. People who rise to this level often change the world. Think about the leaders who fought for freedom. They were not living for personal comfort. They faced prisons, struggles, and even threats to their lives. But they stood strong because their purpose gave them courage. Think of scientists who spent years in research labs, not for fame or money, but because they dreamed of saving lives with new medicines. Think of teachers who dedicate their lives to shaping the next generation, even though they may never be rich or celebrated. Their power did not come from wealth, but from deep purpose. When you find your purpose, something powerful happens inside you. You feel unstoppable. Obstacles no longer break you. Failure does not destroy you. Discomfort does not scare you. Why? Because you are not living for quick pleasures. You are living for meaning. When pain comes, you endure it, because you know it is part of the mission. Even the thought of death does not frighten you, because you know that your life is leaving a mark that will outlive you. This is why purpose is the highest level of power. It frees you from fear. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine two people running a marathon. The first person is running because he wants a medal. Halfway through, he feels tired and thinks, "Maybe I should quit." The second person is running because he is raising money for sick children. He's tired too, but when he thinks of those children, he keeps moving. Which person do you think has more power to continue? The one with purpose. Purpose gives you energy that desire cannot. Purpose is fuel for the soul. Another important truth is that purpose does not have to be something big or famous. Many people think purpose means you must be a global leader, a celebrity, or an inventor. That is not true. Purpose can be simple, but still powerful. A mother raising her children with love has purpose. A doctor healing patients every day has purpose. A builder creating safe homes for families has purpose. A writer inspiring hearts with words has purpose. No purpose is small if it brings meaning to your life and helps others in some way. The danger of the lower levels, fear, desire, discipline, and even influence, is that they can all still be centered on the self. But purpose takes you beyond yourself. Purpose is not about what you gain. It is about what you give. It is about leaving the world better than you found it. When you live with purpose, your life becomes like a river, always flowing, always giving, always nourishing those around it. So, how do you discover your purpose? The truth is, purpose is not something you find in a single moment. It is something you grow into. You discover it by paying attention to what gives your heart fire, to what makes you forget time, to what makes you willing to suffer and sacrifice without regret. Often, your purpose is hidden in your struggles. What hurts you deeply may be the very thing you are called to heal for others. What challenges you overcame may be the lessons you are meant to share. And here is the good news. Every single person has a purpose. It does not matter where you were born, what struggles you faced, or what resources you have. Your purpose might be to guide, to heal, to teach, to serve, to build, to protect, or to create. Your purpose may be big or small in the eyes of the world, but if it fills your heart with meaning, then it is powerful. When you reach the level of purpose, you live with fire. People may not always understand you. They may think you are different, but that is because purpose makes you see beyond the ordinary. You no longer live for approval. You no longer need applause. Your compass is within you, and it points toward meaning, not comfort. Purpose is the ultimate level of power. It gives you direction when life feels confusing. It gives you strength when life feels heavy. It gives you peace when life feels short. At this level, you realize that the greatest tragedy is not death. It is living without purpose. And the greatest victory is not wealth. It is living a life of meaning. My dear friend, I want you to ask yourself today, what is my purpose? What do I want my life to stand for? What will remain when I am gone? These questions are not easy, but they are worth asking. Because once you discover your purpose, your life will never be the same. Which level are you in? Now, my dear friend, we return to the question I asked at the beginning. Which level are you in right now? This is not just a question for curiosity. It is the question that decides how you live, how you grow, and how much power you will discover in your life. Are you still in survival, struggling with fear? Maybe each day feels heavy because you are worried about bills, food, or how you will make it to the next week. You feel as though life is a constant battle and your energy is consumed by stress. If this is where you are, know this. It is not shameful. Every human begins here. What matters is not where you start, but whether you decide to rise. Even in survival, you can choose small steps that build stability. One good habit, one wise choice, one disciplined action can slowly lift you out of fear. Or maybe you are in desire, chasing comfort and pleasure. You are no longer afraid of basic needs, but now you want more. Better clothes, better food, more recognition, more success. Desire pushes you forward, and that is good. But if you are here, you must be careful. Desire is fire. It can cook your meal, or it can burn your house down. If you let it control you, you will spend your life chasing shadows. But if you discipline it, you can use desire as energy to create, to build, and to grow. Perhaps you are in discipline, the level where you start building yourself with strength. You wake up early, you practice good habits, you resist distractions. You are not like most people. You do not live only for pleasure. You live for progress. This is a powerful stage, because discipline gives you control over yourself. Yet remember, discipline is not the end. It is a foundation. If you stop here, you may become strong but isolated. The next step is to use your strength to lift others. Some of you may already be an influence, impacting others with your growth. Your words matter. Your actions inspire. People watch you, follow you, and learn from you. This is a level of multiplication, where your power is not only yours, but is shared through others. If you are here, do not take it lightly. Influence is a gift, and also a responsibility. True influence is not about manipulation. It is about service. Use your power to make others stronger, not weaker. And finally, a few of you may have discovered your purpose, the highest power of all. You are no longer living only for yourself. You live for meaning, for contribution, for something greater than comfort or applause. When you find your purpose, your life becomes light for others. You stop asking, "What can I get?" and begin asking, "What can I give?" That is the mark of true greatness. Wherever you are, remember this truth. Power is not fixed. You are not locked into one level forever. You can always rise higher. The journey is not easy, but it is worth it. Every level requires effort, sacrifice, and courage. But every level also brings more freedom, more strength, and more meaning. The secret is this: never stop climbing. Every day, make one step forward. Save a little more money, control one more bad habit, learn one more skill, inspire one more person, live with one more act of purpose. Do not wait for a perfect moment. The climb happens in small steps, not giant leaps. Step by step, you will rise through the levels. Step by step, you will move from fear to freedom, from desire to discipline, from influence to purpose. And one day, when you look back, you will see how far you have come. You will not just be someone who survived. You will be someone who lived with power, meaning, and purpose. Final words for you. My friend, the 5 levels of power are like steps on a ladder. Each step takes you higher. Each step gives you more strength, and each step brings you closer to the life you are meant to live. Survival keeps you alive. Desire makes you move. Discipline makes you strong. Influence makes you important. And purpose makes you eternal. These levels are not just ideas. They are the stages of human growth. Every great leader, every successful person, every strong soul has walked this path. And so can you. The real question is not whether you can rise. The truth is, you already can. The question is whether you will choose to rise. Because power is already inside you. You were born with it. You carry it in your thoughts, in your choices, in your spirit. You only need to awaken it. You only need to take the next step. No matter where you are right now, whether struggling in survival, chasing desires, building discipline, growing influence, or searching for purpose, there is always a way upward. The climb is always possible. Here on English Achieve, we believe that learning and growing go hand in hand. Just as you strengthen your English day by day, you can also strengthen your power day by day. Small steps, consistent effort, and a clear vision will slowly carry you higher. You do not need to leap to the top in one move. You only need to keep climbing. So ask yourself today, what is my next step? And then, with courage, take it. Because the world is waiting. The world is waiting for your growth, your strength, your influence, and your purpose. The world is waiting for your power.